Hi everyone, I'm Cindy Porter. Today I have a short video tutorial on creating a 3D frame using Creative Paperclay. I began with a thin MDF wooden frame, which I proceeded to apply Creative Paperclay all over the surface. Creative Paperclay is a wonderful air dry clay that adheres to almost any surface, well certainly any surface I've ever tried to apply it to. Here you can see me just working and shaping the clay, trying to keep the shape of the original frame but give it some life and definition with the clay. I'm starting off just by laying down a base covering of clay. I'm trying to get different heights and depths in the clay around the shape of the frame. I'll continue in this manner, just using my fingers and a silicone tipped tool to help work and shape the clay. Creative Paperclay is extremely easy to use, wonderful product. Can't recommend it enough for all your creative needs. It's an air dry clay, so there's no kiln firing required whatsoever. Once the frame's covered, I use a sponge, damp sponge and wet fingers basically. I keep dipping them in water to smooth off the clay to give my surface a lovely smooth finish. Creative Paperclay, once dry, is sandable, so if you don't get your finish perfect, you don't have to worry. You can always sand it later as well. Now that I have my smooth surface, I'm using a ball tool to create some texture and marks to give my frame some interest. Just trying to decide exactly what sort of patterning I'd like to have on my frame and going about creating that with this ball tool. I then move on to a tool that I actually made using Creative Paperclay to give some scratch marks and hole marks, tiny little hole puncture marks all over the surface of the frame. If you have a look on the Creative Paperclay blog, you'll find the details on how to make this little tool that I'm currently using. I'll also put a link to that in the description box below. Just finishing up making all the marks on the surface of my frame and giving it plenty of texture and making sure that all my texture and edges are nice and smooth. Once the frame is completely dry, I grab out some Silk's acrylic glazes and start painting it up. I began with autumn leaf around the inner edge of the frame. Silk's acrylic glazes paint the paperclay beautifully. I then grab some sunflower Silk's acrylic glaze and I start to blend that with the autumn leaf on the outer edge of that inner rim of the frame. I'm going for a very natural looking colour palette for this frame. I move further out with pure sunflower, and once I have that, I decide that the frame needs to have a more antiqued look. So I mixed some black gesso and water to create a wash and start washing that over the painted frame, giving myself a very antiqued finish. Much more the look of what I was going for. Final touch, I add some metallic wax rub-on with my finger just to give it a little bit of shine. And then my frame is finished and ready for Jerry the giraffe. I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial, and we'll grab out some Creative Paperclay and create some things for yourself. Thank you for watching.